It's all about the need, and we have a lot of kids out there that have those superpowers. They just haven't been taught yet that they have them, and you can use them to, change the world, make a difference.
Welcome back to Brew Talks. I'm Steve Stroud. I'm President and CEO of Roswell Inc. We're your economic development organization in the city of Roswell.
And I'm Ashley Allen, Director of Operations. Today we have with us Dr. Palmer, Head of School for the Cottage School. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, well, you're welcome. Very, very excited about it. Quick story. Over 10 years ago when I got here, I tried to get settled in and start connecting with people. And the first person they said, you got to go see Steve Stroud. I said, okay, got to go meet him. They said, the reason why is because he is as passionate about his city as you are for the kids. So we had to get connected. I remember we had coffee out downtown Roswell, and I was like,
we did. That's right.
So we both are passionate about what we do. So I'm honored to be here today.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for your investment.
Yes, sir.
At the end of the day, we hear about education from an economic development side on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. We had a big announcement a couple of weeks ago, and that was with PBS, which is an aerospace, and one of the reasons they picked Roswell was the schools, right? Mm-hmm. Not just Fulton County schools, not just secondary schools, but the fact that we have specialized schools in the community, and that we've got so many private schools was a real driver. I'm a product of Fulton County schools, good, bad, or otherwise. That's what you got. But at the end of the day, it's the additional educational options. And Cottage School is one of those. So tell us a little bit about the history on Cottage School.
Yes, sir. Been here 10 years. The school is celebrating its 40th birthday.
Whoa!
Congratulations.
So, yes.
That's
It's
exciting.
been around for 40 years. It started off as a tutoring center with a husband and wife, Jackie and Joe DeJaso.
Yes.
And then tutoring center was here in Roswell, and that tutoring center grew. And I'm the only head of school / executive director from the founders. The founders retired 10 years ago. And basically, as I tell them, I'm taking their child to the next level, getting their child from being in elementary, middle to college. So that's what I've been working on in the Cottage School. So we're a very unique niche in the area. And
Tell us about that niche.
Well, most people look at the Cottage School, they come to us with learning differences. There's a term, and it was coined back in 1975 from the IDEA, was SLD, which stood for a specific learning disability. So they get labeled SLD, specific learning disability, in the public schools, et cetera, with an IEP, which is the individualized education plan. But I tell people all the time, SLD doesn't mean specific learning disability. It means smart kids learn differently.
Right.
I love that.
So smart kids learn differently. The secret is teach them differently. Welcome to the Cottage School. So what we do is a totally different approach. I tell people we do three things very well. One is we focus on anxiety. In this world today, it's even more known for anxiety.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere, and everyone has it. A little anxiety is good. That gives you that adrenaline to drive, to do things that you probably would never dream of doing. So that type of anxiety is pretty good, but there's a lot that's overwhelming. So we're addressing that in our program. From class size are all under 10. We have a very structured, systematic.
Under 10, you said?
Under 10.
Wow.
So small classes from elementary all the way through high school. So we're a K-12 school now. When I got there, we were high school started as a high school in '85, and then they added in the '90s, added the middle, and then 9 years ago I added the elementary early intervention. So we wanted to get those youngins who needed that help first. So we're looking again at anxiety. Comes in many forms, and as I talk about our program, you can say, oh yeah, that would help out my child in anxiety. Second thing we look at is, I call it executive functioning skills. The things that you need to have to function in this world in a productive way. Example, if I see a little kid with a backpack and the papers are all falling out, they can use some help with organization, structure, and that's what the Cottage School offers, that on a daily systematic way. And the third thing is those learning differences. I talked about the smart kids learn differently. We're more of an eclectic approach because we focus on students on the spectrum, on autism, high-functioning students. We focus on those who have various remediation issues like auditory processing, visual discrimination. We're looking at dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, those who have trouble reading, writing, and maybe or math. So we're focusing on addressing those areas of needs in a work-based model. And what that looks like is, for example, if Steve was coming to my school, I'd say, Steve, do you like money? And I do this with all the kids, and they look at me and say, yes. I said, no one's told me no yet. So they say yes. So moms and dads are looking at me, and I said, well, I want to hire you. Come to work for me. And they said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to give you a paycheck and a planner, and you're going to have 2 weeks contracted. So every 2 weeks we have a contract. You have 2 weeks worth of work that's laid out in a planner, and there's no surprises. Again, anxiety. Here's what I'm doing on Monday. Here's what I'm doing the rest of the week. Here's what I'm doing on Friday. Now, just like the real world, because that's how this program is centered, focusing on those who have learning differences, but getting prepared for the real world out there, whether it's college or career. I wish I would have went there, because the exciting things is financial literacy. You're learning that right away. So when I look at a young student, I say, I'm going to hire you. You're going to come to work for me. It's school, but I'm going to use the term work all the time. You don't have uniforms, but you have a dress code. Young men, collars, etc. So we have a dress code because we want you to dress. I want them to be able to plan and the things in the real world. What are you going to wear to work tomorrow?
So they got to own it, right?
Yes, I want them to own it.
Yep.
As I was mentioned earlier, we were talking about those students. So if you were coming to my school and you're running late to work, you have to call me, not mom or dad. So I want the onus, the responsibility put on the child, the student, right away. So as they're in their homeroom, so the schedule looks like a homeroom, that's their boss, their mentor. They report to them for 15 minutes in the morning, and then they reconvene at the end of the day.
That's right.
So they kind of wrap up their day. It's very, very important, though, and it's imperative with our program with 7 different counselors on campus with almost 300 students. Wow. So that ratio of addressing those social and emotional needs are there besides the academic. So they're starting off with their boss, their mentor, and they're getting them ready to head off to 1st through 5th period in the morning. I call it rigor in the morning. We want to get that stuff going. We have students that, and it might be on some medications that they need, but kind of, as most of them knows, it fades off in the afternoon. So I want to get that early rigor in the morning. So they're in their homeroom. They're getting ready to go to 1st period, 2nd. They got their planner and a checkbook. So I'm going to pay them to go to work. Now, there are 5 skills that they got to do in each class to get paid. Students will look at me, is this real money, Dr. Palmer? And I'll nod yes and say no and back and forth. It's Cottage School money, but it's money that's paid in their tuition that's taken out for them to get a paycheck. Now, this is what happens. So it's an incentive-based program. They're in class on Monday. They're heading off to 1st, 2nd, 3rd. The 5 things they have to do: 1, they got to be on time.
Yep.
Okay. 2, you have to be appropriately dressed. 3, you must have all your materials, laptop charged fully, etc. 4 is my favorite. You have to work. How did you work courteously, cooperatively with each other? So you've got
during that class.
During that class, you've got. It's like the real world. We all got to work together, no matter our differences.
100%.
And the last thing is, did you get the job done? Did you complete the task? If you do that, I'm going to give you $8. So they're going to get $8. Do that in 1st period, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Then it's lunchtime. I say, you guys work really hard, put your books, your backpacks away. Now it's time to continue learning, but let's have some fun. So like when we were in school, we had electives, and those electives varied, but they're pretty much, shop or PE. So after lunch, they get to pick 2 electives for the semester, and the electives go basically Monday, Wednesday elective, and a Tuesday, Thursday elective. So what are those electives? They vary from mountain biking, rock wall climbing. We use the boxing studio downtown Roswell.
Oh yeah.
We have not only college track, but we're also looking at addressing those skills. We have a culinary arts program where now my students are taking the test for Serve Safe. I have students who have already passed that. What a leg up they have when they graduate and walk out.
100%.
We've got a carpentry shop. Every tool you can imagine to build a house. Oh, we're going in the state of the art of the tech labs. We're doing drones, programming, coding. We're competing in the state of Georgia with drones. And we're also looking at opportunities for careers that we can teach there and get into. So they get those 2 electives. And they have it Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. After that, they head back to homeroom. Now, they worked all day. They got $8 in each class. If you missed something, you didn't show up on time, that's 20% deduction. Okay? It's like the real world. It's not a disciplinary school because they know what they need to do to go to work.
That's right.
It's always, would your mom and dad, what would happen to your mom or dad if they did something like this at work? Well, in our school, like when we were in public school, they use those words referrals. We don't do referrals. We do pink slips. We do yellow slips. So more or less, it's a warning And it's their responsibility and their leadership to rectify that. They get together and have that conversation with whomever they violated with, whether it's a teacher for being late, and conflict resolution. So they're working on those areas. Now, with those electives, at the end of the day, it's an incentive-based. They go back to their teacher and they tally their checkbook. They made $40. They put it in their checkbook. They make a deposit. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Very systematic. And again, we're focusing on those who have various learning disabilities and their IEP, their individualized education plan. We're focusing on how they learn, not how we teach. So we're going to teach their way.
Amazing.
So with that in mind, again, they think, oh, this is great coming to work, but there's so much research, underlying effort of what we're doing to help their different styles of learning. Friday's a new day. So they go Friday, they go to homeroom, they go in there to get ready. After homeroom, they go to a business meeting. Now, what this business meeting looks like, it's phenomenal. I love visiting it. When you see it, it's like, okay, they all high school goes down, all middle school will go collectively in the auditorium, and it's more of a community. I call the Cottage School a family. It's more of a family. So we're all sitting around, all the teachers and the staff. Teachers don't have a teacher's lounge. Teachers sit with the students. So what we want to do is we're teaching them by example. If we do it, they can do it. So most of the school, you go to schools, it's last name, Dr. Palmer, et cetera. But everyone there addresses everybody by first name basis. We're trying to make it that community. So example, the little ones call me Dr. Steve, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, I like that.
So as they're in this meeting, it's like the real world to where they have an opportunity to promote themselves. So whether you work for Home Depot or you work for the Atlanta Braves, there are levels. So when you start a level, that's E-level, that's entry. You don't know what you're doing, you're being trained. You're not paid at the top level yet, but
right.
you know where you're at and what you're doing. Now, number one, we move to level 1, you know your job. No one has to tell you, you know where to clock in, you know everything is. Level 2, you're more of a supervisor. You have more responsibilities and more privileges. And number 3, I call that the big dog level. That's the CEO. That's level 3. That's your Arthur Blank type of level. The higher the level, the more money they make, the more privileges and responsibilities. Cool. Now, someone says, well, how do I get there? Well, 2 ways. 1, doing your work. So it's incentive to do your work. 2, as the head of school, my main goal is not academics. It's very important. Not every 5-year-old can tie their shoe, but pretty much every 15-year-old can. So you're going to learn as long as you're in the right educational environment. So my main goal for all my students, I want them to find their voice. I want them to be able to advocate.
Yep.
Advocate for themselves. Again, I'm thinking about the real world. What do they have to do? Like what do we have to do? They had to learn, when I say find your voice, you find your confidence, you find your self-assurance, you set goals. You're not only looking out for yourself, now you're looking out for others. I gave a tour the other day, and his dad goes to me, these kids, they look like they run the place. And I said, they do. People talk about leaders of tomorrow. No, I want leaders today.
CEOs.
So that's what we're trying to do. So in this business meeting, they have an opportunity to find their voice. Hi, I'm Dr. Steve. I want to move to level 3. So what happens, it's a collaborative feedback from students and teachers. Now, it's not set up for failure. So it's like if you miss work for 4 days, don't expect to be paid. So you come to work to do the job, get paid. Same way with school.
And level 3 is probably not an option. If you're,
right. Yeah. So you might want to reboot. Your homeroom teacher will probably sign.
Honest conversations.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. So we're getting them prepared for that. Now, those who get that level, it's like, okay, applause. I would like to go to level 3. I'm Dr. Steve, and these are the things that I do. I'm in the Interact Club. I've been an ambassador. I've been a level 2 so it's kind of like an interview. Oh, yeah. But again, they're promoting themselves, and they've earned it.
And this is every Friday?
This is every other Friday.
Every other Friday.
It's like every 2 weeks, we have this paycheck they get, and they have this business meeting. So at the end of these 2 weeks, they get that paycheck, okay? But the beauty is when they started on Monday, they know and they knew what they're working towards and for 2 weeks down the road. So it's set up on our calendar. It's not loosey-goosey. It's set up 2 weeks all through the year. It's all planned. For example, after they get promoted, and it's a clap, okay, good job, those levels now give them, and it's imperative you're a 2 or 3. Because now you have your paycheck and you get to spend it. You have 3 choices to spend your paycheck on at the end of 2 weeks.
Wow.
First choice is you're going to go off campus. It's payoff day. So we've got Stone Mountain for the day, World of Coke, the zoo, the aquarium, go to Dahlonega for gold digging. So we were downtown Roswell. We're at the computer center, the history of the computer center. So we're all over, but it's every 2 weeks they have an opportunity to go out. Now they might say, I've been to the zoo 100 times with my mom, dad, I want to stay on campus. That's the second option. So we'll do an on-campus activity. One time I brought in EA Sports to come in, and we did a 25-game video game competition in the gym.
That's cool.
My favorite one though is the middle school. What the middle school did, they took a cruise. Now, they didn't physically go on a cruise, but what they did is they turned their classrooms into various ports. So like one was Jamaica, and they had the music and the food. So there's a lot of learning continuing to go on in here. Plus, it's those social skills that they need involved in this too. How do you act appropriate? Now, if you're a 2 or 3, we know that you can handle going off campus. That's why it's imperative that you get up there. So your first choice is to, do those payoff, go off campus. Second choice, stay on campus. And the third and final thing is you come to school to learn. You go to work to produce, to do what you need to do and get paid. And if you miss it, you got to make it up.
Wow.
So what we do is we have them have to write a check, and they go work one-on-one with the teacher so that they get that work done, caught up what they missed. If you miss 3 days, you need to make up that work. And we have a lot of ample time and opportunity for them to make it up during
that 2 week.
And that from morning to afternoon. We have a Cougar catch-up time. We're the Cougar Cottage School, so Cougar catch-up time. We have after hours, so there's ample opportunity. But if you can't make it, then you're going to pay. The third choice is go work with a teacher, get those grades, get everything caught up, and then you can convene with your colleagues, your friends on campus once you get done. Now, the beauty of all this is that come Monday morning, they start with a zero in their bank account, and I hire them for 2 more weeks, and we start all over again. Now, the goal is that everybody's academically current, everybody's caught up, so that we can keep moving on. And then the incentive is, well, next 2 weeks you'll be working on whatever our goal would be set up for that time. I always have overachievers. People say, what about that extra money? Because they can make extra money. Well, you put that in your savings account.
Aha.
Now, what's wonderful about the savings account is at the end of each semester, we have age-appropriate savings account trip. For example, high school, if it's wintertime, they get to spend, we leave on Monday, come back Wednesday, they spend 3 days snow skiing in Carolina. If it's springtime, they get to spend that savings account money, and we head them off to Panama City, or we take them to St. Simon's Island. So it's, again, a total incentive-based program that everybody hopefully is achieving the academic level that they need to.
That's
They're learning the work model. But again, the biggest piece, the passion, is helping those students that have learning differences learn that those disadvantages are your advantage. I tell all the parents, tell the kids, they're superpowers.
Yeah.
You have superpowers. People don't understand when you look at somebody like Charles Schwab. He was dyslexic. He hired 2 people, one to write for him, one to read for him. Now, the things that most people don't understand, that people that are dyslexic see things and patterns differently.
That's right.
So when you see patterns differently, that makes you a little more creative. You can look at the stock market. I mean, if you can see those things, Mr. Charles Schwab. But there's a list of people. We're talking about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So those are superpowers. But the problem that I encounter a lot is they come to me broken. They come broken in spirit, because out in this world,
they don't fit in.
They don't.
Yeah.
And they're not taught that these superpowers
can actually take you somewhere.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And it's kind of like life. If you're told you're not all the time,
you're going to think you're not.
Yes, sir.
Right.
So, and if you're complimented all the time, and you're loved all the time, then you're going to feel that. And I tell them all the time, we're family. I walk in the middle of the gym when I do parent orientation. I walk out there and it's packed, and I say, "Welcome home." And I say that to say we're family, because you want what we want. Who's the biggest cheerleader for that child? Mom and dad.
That's
Who
right.
loves them the most? Mom and dad. Who's going to sacrifice whatever they need to do to make sure they succeed? Mom and dad. So we're part of that, because at the Cottage School, as the head of school, that's what I want, and that's what my staff. I have a phenomenal staff. I joke all the time when parents come. I say, "Welcome to Disney World." And they say, "Disney World?" I say, "Yeah, this is my Disney World." I originally grew up in Florida.
Yeah, I remember
from the
coming
beach.
from-
When I was younger, I worked for Walt, and I loved the fact that Walt Disney said he wanted to make the happiest place on earth. That was his slogan,
goal,
happiest place on earth. Why can't schools be that way? They can. So I started off as a teacher, and teacher of the year, Disney's Teacherific. I started winning various accolades, and I'm like, well, I'm doing something. And then I had to figure out exactly what I was doing. So further education, master's degree, doctorate degree, went into administration. But schools can be the happiest place on earth. And I joke that I've got the Magic Kingdom. That's my elementary.
Yeah,
That's the elementary.
And you just went into a new building,
Just
new
opened
facility.
a new facility
Over on
right
Holcomb
across
Bridge
on
on the
Holcomb
east side,
Bridge
yeah.
on the east side. Yes, sir. A mile and a half from my main campus.
How big is your main campus, speaking of?
Main campus is 24 and a half acres.
Right off Grimes Bridge
Right
Road.
off Grimes Bridge. And then the other campus is Holcomb Bridge. Just opened it up about 5 months ago, and wonderful. Had a ribbon cutting. Thank you guys for coming down and visiting.
Phenomenal.
And so it's growing. It's doing what it's meant to do. It's helping students, helping families. And the key thing is, I hear all the time, kids will say, this school it saved my life. And I have families say it saved their families. And if you figure you're struggling with that. But I give, when I talk about Disney World, all that pixie dust, all that magic, that's my teachers.
Yeah.
Those are the staff. Those are the admin. Those are the people that make the
all the
magic
glue.
happen. Yeah, they make the magic happen. Epcot's my high school, though. That's Environmental Protocol City of Tomorrow. We're helping students understand skills and jobs that aren't even created yet. I mean, I think there's 1.4 million jobs connected apps. I would have thought of that years ago.
It's crazy.
Apps. And then, those signing parties where, the dad and mom will sit and the coach comes in, they put their hat on where they're going to college.
Yeah.
6 years ago is the first time I've ever done one. And I've done a number of them. I've been doing this for about 35 years. First time I ever did one for esports. This young man got to go to college in Virginia, 4 years free in Virginia to play video games. Fortnite. And I'm like, wait. I think, what is this about?
Competition.
So I needed to find out more about this and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, he had an internship with the military. So the Navy wanted him and dealing with coding and programming. So there's so many opportunities out there, and that's what we try to do at the Cottage School.
That's right. When a lot of your students go on to secondary schools,
Yes.
big name schools
Yes.
all around,
Yeah,
right?
we have two different paths. We want you to go off to college or career, and there's various colleges. We've from Georgia
Sure.
Tech.
And you've got traditional sports too.
Yes, sir.
Basketball. What else?
Yeah, we had
Soccer?
baseball, track, field, swimming,
They
archery.
compete with the private
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah, we
That's
stay
awesome.
within our community of different private schools. But yeah, we give you the whole full service and some, and that's the beauty of it. With the staff and the phenomenal people, we do this and some.
And 10 years ago, you were at just at 100 students,
It was about 10 years ago, about 130,
130, and today you're at
almost 300.
300.
That's amazing.
Amazing growth. Obviously, it takes leadership to grow that direction because it's not just adding headcount. You got to add facility. You've got to add staff. You got to add resources, and obviously, you've been able to do that, which is amazing. And again, it gives options for residents and people in not just Roswell, but the region to come in.
We have 13 different districts that we go through. So we reach out to 13 different districts. And one thing is the point of all this, I say it's not about the numbers, it's about the need.
That's right.
It's about the need.
Meeting the need.
Yes, meeting the need. And what I love is the synergy and the relationships that we have here, because I have people today, I had family that flew in from Oregon. I have people that moved from the Virgin Islands. I have people that lived in North Carolina that drove over here and had an apartment right downtown during the week and then went back on the weekends.
We hear that.
But Roswell is attractive too. So it's that partnership that we have. They come for the need of the school and they see that they can have their needs, family needs met also in this wonderful community.
Steve, how can one of our listeners, get more information about the Cottage School?
A couple ways. I mean, one's definitely going to cottageschool.org.
Okay.
So you can find us online. Reach out. Love to give you a personal tour. I mean, you can find us
Beautiful facility.
Yes,
If you've
sir.
not been on the campus, it's gorgeous.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And the social media, you can find us all out there too. Cottage School, whether it be Facebook.
We can track you down.
You can track us down.
And you're visible because you live here, so
Yes,
I know
sir.
where to find you.
Yes, sir. Right around the corner. So again, it's all about the need.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of kids out there that have those superpowers. They just haven't been taught yet that they have them, and you can use them to change the world, make a difference.
It's a great story. We always end
amazing.
with a little toast.
Oh, yes.
We always say it's a great day to do business in Roswell, Georgia. It's even better when you got great education and education partners. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.